Yeah, I think one of the things you're really, really good at is communicating ideas to your audience, because I'm on your list and on your IM list. And what I find interesting is that I do end up opening your emails. I can say that about most people. I do read Ben's emails. I read
Yep, me too.
some other people's emails, but your emails, it's like when I get an email from you, I know there's going to be an opinion or a rant or something. It's like
Yep.
this person did what? COVID
Yeah, that's
authorities
right. Yep.
just right. It's like, oh, they just admitted the vaccines were whatever. Like it's just all kinds of
That's
stuff,
right. Yeah,
and
yeah. Yep,
and
yep, yep.
it's like I can't ignore it. You know what I mean? Like I just can't ignore it. And even if I don't read the whole email, I'll read the subject line, I'll click into it, I'll check out what's going on. And a lot of times
Yeah.
when I'm like for example, I'm waiting for coffee in my favorite coffee shop, Landver, and I get an email from you, I'll click into it on my phone. I'll scroll down quickly to see what you're promoting, because you always put this
Yeah.
link and it looks like tomwoods.com/something, and usually the
Yeah.
slash will tell me what you're mailing. And so
Yeah.
most recently, I remember you mailed for our mutual friend who just launched a book, Turn Your Passions into
Oh, you
Profits.
know Matt
Matt
McWilliams?
yeah,
Yeah.
we hosted him on the show, and we chat every now and again. So you mailed his book, and you mailed it hard. I remember one day I got like, I think it was for his like 4 emails in one day.
Oh, no,
It
that
was,
must be something else. I just started mailing for him.
oh, really? Just now?
Yeah, I've only
Okay,
done
then it
one
must be
for him
something
so
else.
far. Yeah.
It was something else. It was a low ticket item as well, but it definitely was something. And what's interesting is every email that came in, it didn't really have like buy this book, or buy this course or buy this program or
Yeah.
this software. It's never like that. Every email that comes
Yeah.
in, it's like you have a reason to talk to me. It's like you have a reason to share something with me. And I think that's something that virtually no other internet marketer does really well, including myself, by the way. Even I dropped the ball on this, because if you're on my list, some emails can appear repetitive. Especially in the last day of the promotion, where it's like 3 hours left, 6 hours
Yeah,
left.
and I've
But
already sent 15 emails about this product. There's nothing left to say. I have to repeat myself.
yeah, but your ability to come up with angles and then link them or
Thank you.
bridge them to the actual offer you're promoting, it is just incredible. I think
Thank
if
you. I'm
nothing
actually very
else,
proud of
this
that.
should be your product. No, you should be. You should be. You got it. You got it to a level of an art.
Well,
Seriously.
I am actually considering, because I had thought I have, like you, I have a bunch of friends in this space that I've promoted with, and I've thought about teaming up with them to create a genuine newbie product, which I did do a couple years ago, but I want to update it and start from scratch. Uh, and then I realized I don't actually need to partner up with somebody. The only reason I wanted to partner up was that I had self-doubt. But at this point, I think I know what I'm doing, and so I think I want to create that myself and just put it out there. And one dimension of it would be that I would take a whole bunch of these email promotions that I've done and I'd break them down and explain exactly what I'm doing and why they work, and maybe even give some of them away. You can use if you want to promote this thing, something like that. Because as I say, I'm quite happy with. I look back at some of my old emails. I look at the subject lines and I think, doggone it, yeah, they had no wonder they opened that one. I need to know. I don't even remember what's in here, and I need to open that. So that makes me happy. And the fact that you can send emails and have them be fun and interesting, and in a way, that's how you make your living. Almost seems unreal on some level.
Yeah, people really can fathom or comprehend. I do have this thing on my Facebook, because I know a lot of people like look me up, not like in the industry, but rather in their day to day life when I meet with them. As a part of the day to day life experience. They look me up on Facebook and they'll add me as a friend. Then they'll approach me and say, "Hey, on your Facebook it says you teach people how to break the link between their time and their income." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "How?" And I started explaining to them the concept of what I teach, like how to build a
Yeah,
list, how to email the list with offers. Like I basically teach what we do for a living,
yeah,
and they just can't understand it. It's like I'm talking Portuguese with them sometimes,
yeah.
you
I
know.
know
So
exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, I want because, for example, I just talked to. I have 5 daughters, and one of them's 17. She's a senior in high school, and she has. This is very rare in high schools in the U.S. She's in an entrepreneurship class, if you can believe that. And so they invited me in to talk to them about what I do. And the nice thing about talking to a group of 17-year-olds is that they're not so cynical yet that they, that it sounds like Portuguese to them. They still have this wonder. They still have an open mind. And so I got up there and I talked to them about what I do. I started it off actually by talking about, Veronica was out in another state and I went to go pick her up. I had to fly out to get her. And I started off by talking about how much money I made while I was asleep on that airplane. And that immediately I didn't go in and say, hello, boys and girls. Today I'm going to talk about, I said, the other day I was flying out to such and such. I started just like that. And I said, I made $578 while I was sleeping. Now, obviously there have been days when I've made way more than 578, but that wouldn't sound plausible. 578 sounds weirdly plausible. And it was true. That was the figure I made while I was sleeping. And I said, now, if that's intriguing, then you want to listen to what I have to say. So I laid it out to them. And then I said, now I'm going to show you in the rest of the presentation, I'm going to show you how you can do exactly this. Because anybody in this room can do what I do. And I laid it out to them. And none of them thought it was from another planet or something. They just thought, wow, I'd never heard of this before. They didn't think, oh, that can't work. The kinds of questions they asked me were, well, in fact, I had one of them say, aren't you lying to people if you give them away something for free and then you put them on the mailing list? Like maybe they didn't know they were going to be on it. I said, well, that's the thing. You put on the landing page that if you opt in, you're going to wind up on my list. So yeah, you're right. That would be spam. And you wouldn't do that. So that was what they were asking. They weren't asking, hey, are you some kind of shyster? Because yeah, you look at my lifestyle, it seems impossible. But this is exactly why I want to teach it to people. I mean, there is merit, there's value in what I do, and other people can find fulfillment and dough in doing it also.
Yeah, and this is actually a very common thing that you will notice is virtually there are no commonalities between people who succeeded online in this space. Like they come from all kinds of different backgrounds, and most of them don't really have an MBA.
No. I have no training in this. Yeah. I mean, when I say I have no training, I mean, I'm self-taught. I mean, I learned from Ben Settle. I learned from a bunch of people, but I didn't learn in a classroom is what I mean. And so that shows that it's open to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is both the blessing and the curse of the industry, because a lot of people come in and they're still used to the school structure, where they expect a curriculum, they expect a structure, they expect for the teacher to be standing next to them and pointing and whatever. But there's also a lot of people who are intelligent enough or brave enough, I would say. I don't think it's an intelligent thing. It's more of a, are you willing to do it on your own? Like they're just willing to get into it, just dive in. And then they start trying to figure things out, trying things and failing, maybe looking how other people are doing it and modeling after them, or trying to dissect and break what they do. And this is pretty common in this game where, no one's coming in with an MBA and a degree in internet marketing. The industry is just too new for that to happen, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's interesting that you say that, because I think little by little, I've had the sense that it's starting to seep into formal education, like a university education. You can take a course on stuff like this, or building your brand online, or at least something like that. But yeah, this really is for people who are prepared to break the mold and not just, do what everybody else does. But because I don't want to do what everybody else does, because a lot of times everybody else does the wrong thing, or they go down a road that's just not going to be profitable. I want to do what other successful people I saw doing. And when I got into this, the thing I think that most struck me was the leaderboard prizes. So if you're promoting somebody's product and they have a fixed number of days of the launch of the product, sometimes they'll say, the top 5 people are going to earn a monetary prize on top of the commissions they earn from the sales. And now, obviously, if it's a $7 ebook, you're not going to make $100K prize, but you get something. You could get $1,000, $2,000, $500, whatever. But then I would see some of these programs where the top prize was $50,000, and since then I've even seen $100,000 or $25,000, and you just think, wait a minute, what? So these people are just, and then I would watch people, I would watch these leaderboards, and as you say, I would see the same names on them again and again, and I would realize, wow. So in a matter of 3 months, I know this guy earned a $25,000 prize, a $20,000 prize, and a $40,000 prize. Who knows how much in commissions he must have earned to earn those prizes? This is ridiculous. I think about, an auto mechanic down the street has to break his back to get a tiny fraction of that. I want to know what these people are doing. That's just natural.
Yo, it's Igor. I want you to have my Amazon best-selling book for free for taking the time to listen to my podcast and to watch my YouTube videos. Now, I'm not only going to give you this book for free, but I'm going to throw in about $3.2 thousand in free bonuses. Now, if you want to get this book, please click the link in the description, or you can also go to igorsbook.com. And now, back to the podcast.
It's an amazing industry. I'll give you that much. Sometimes,
and the thing is, you have to be in it a little while to figure out who is real and sincere and who you need to steer clear from. And you just know it after a few months. You figure out who's really producing something of value and who is just on the take. And if you subject your subscribers to them, it's going to be a big mistake.
Yeah, we can actually mention that, because I was just speaking to another fellow before I was talking to you. He built a $40 million business teaching women how to become real estate investors. And what's interesting, he did it all without including any sort of affiliate component in the business, which I find fascinating, because affiliate marketing can become a huge income stream for someone with a list of his size, which is about 300,000 people. All women, all wanting to learn how to invest in real estate. And I think 80% of them are buyers or something, because for some reason they don't really
So he could sell other products to them, but did he use affiliates to get some of those subscribers? Did other people bring him some of those subscribers?
No,
do we know?
No. He runs media. It's a big media buying operation, but can you imagine how many millions of dollars he can recoup from the media ad spend, for example, just by doing once a quarter email promo to the buyers? It's
or as I say, going out to people in real estate and saying to them, I'll do a 50-50 split if you refer people to my program. That's no effort on his part. And see, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think some of us feel like the amount of money I make should be in proportion to the amount of sweat that I put in. It should be in proportion to the amount of pain that I feel and the energy that I exert. And that's why it can seem weird for an internet marketer who's really starting to get good, that sometimes, if I have a program that converts really well and I promote it to my list, my own program, it is almost no effort for me to say to my friend who has 100,000 people on his list, can you promote this thing? I don't have to do anything. He writes the emails and whatever. I just sit there and watch the sales come in. And it was just, all I had to do was, I didn't have to build my audience further. I didn't have to put any more energy into it. I just said, hey, why don't you mail for this? And then I sit here and the money comes in. It's almost inconceivable. It was almost no additional effort. And the money comes in. I've had this happen, because even though it's not an IM product, I do have a digital product online that I have one person who's a really, really good affiliate. And there was one day we were doing a one-day promotion of this thing, and he sent it out to his list of 500,000 people, and we ended up splitting $100,000 that day. And that was one day with one email campaign that he ran. It was no effort on my part, other than to invite him to do it.
No, that's pretty crazy.
Wild.
And for people who aren't a part of the industry yet, or haven't broken through the initial barrier yet, it can be it's just impossible to understand. But for me, the favorite,
it has to be unreal. It has to be unreal. You can't believe it.
You can, and the other thing about it is too, it's you have to say, oh no, it's fake, because if you don't, you have to admit that you're not smart enough, that some other knucklehead, like you say on your landing page, some other knucklehead figured it out, and I must be smarter than the knucklehead. That's
right.
That's
so if I can't make this work, it must not be real. But it's more that it takes work. I mean, this didn't immediately bear fruit for me. I had to put effort in. And so I think there's an important distinction to be made between the words easy and simple. In some ways, what I do is quite simple in that I can describe it to you in under 5 minutes. It's not rocket science. I can describe it in 5 minutes and you will understand it. But it's not easy, because by easy, that would mean no effort required. There is effort, but the effort is going to these simple steps. But you have to put in that effort. And once you put in that effort, and of course, to some degree, it's an ongoing effort. Like, for example, building an email list. You have to keep that list refreshed because people are going to die on that list, or they're going to unsubscribe. Attrition is a real thing. You do have to put some effort in, but not as much as at the beginning. You front load the effort. It's like with a podcast. Most of the effort comes at the beginning when you're figuring out, how do I get my podcast on Apple Podcasts and how do I hook it all up? But once that's done, I just open my computer every day, record, close the computer. It's the initial work is the thing. And that's where you lose most people. They're not willing to put that initial work in, even when the potential rewards are just staggering. I mean, I would put in whatever it took, because as you say, I have seen knuckleheads do really well with this. So I want all my smart people to do well with this.